Welcome to Cardboard Conjecture. We're a podcast about board games where we have opinions and conclusions formed on the basis of incomplete information. This episode of Cardboard Conjecture is brought to you by these great Saskatoon businesses: Amazing Stories Comics on 8th Street, Dragon's Den Games on 8th Street, and Breakout Escape Rooms on Faithful Avenue. Hey there, and welcome to Cardboard Conjecture. I'm your host, Norm, and on this episode, we are going to continue with our theme in the role-playing games RPG, and we are going to start our first episode and first campaign of the King's Court Adventures in 5e live play. Here's hoping that the first segment isn't a TPK. Cardboard Conjecture is proudly sponsored by Amazing Stories Comics on 8th Street in Saskatoon. They're the winner of the Joe Shuster Award for Best Comic Book Store in Canada, and they were also nominated in 2016 for the U.S. Eisner Spirit of Comics Retailer Award presented at Comic-Con. Amazing Stories' amazing collection of comic books, board games, puzzles, and collectibles can be found in their store or on their new online website. Hey there and welcome back. This is Cardboard Conjecture. A little bit of setup before we go into the first segment of the King's Court Adventures in 5e live play. And just want to let you know what this is entailing. And what this is my D&D group from the 90s. And what you'll find out is in the opener, a bunch of 50-somethings. So yeah, this is a comeback to haven't seen my friends in so long. We are and still are a bunch of theater nerds that still work in the industry in some form or another. And if you're interested, you can go back to the Rise of RPG, where I have invited them, or had invited them to talk about what's going on with role-playing games lately. And so we decided, let's see if we could put some of our stuff on the podcast and see if it sticks. So, without further ado, after this sponsor announcement, the King's Court Adventures in 5e live play, and just want to mention that we're using the Tomb of Annihilation Dungeons & Dragons, and want to also add that this is unofficial fan content permitted under the fan content policy, and it is not approved or endorsed by Wizards of the Coast. And nor should they. This episode of Cardboard Conjecture is proudly sponsored by Dragon's Den Games, located in the Louis VIII Mall on 8th Street in Saskatoon. Swing by Dragon's Den Games and let Darren, Al, and the awesome staff help you out in search for great board games, role-playing games, miniature systems, and all of the related accessories. Be a part of their gaming communities that have scheduled events in their great gaming area. Dragon's Den Games, Louis VIII Mall on 8th Street in Saskatoon.
Hello, I'm the guard at the gate, and the king has told me to tell you that this is the King's Court. A bunch of 50-somethings who go on adventures in D&D 5e. This D&D 5e adventure is Tomb of Annihilation. I've also been told to tell you that the King's Court is an unofficial fan content permitted under the fan content policy. It's not approved or endorsed by Wizards of the Coast. I am also happy to tell you that we are unofficially using Syrinscape to provide the most amazing soundscape and sound effects online platform for any RPG experience, and you can try it for free.
Something evil is trapping the souls of the dead and draining life through all who have been raised from death by magic. This worldwide death curse not only prevents the raising of the dead, but also causes creatures that were previously raised from the dead to wither and die. The source of this death curse lies in a trap-riddled tomb hidden beneath a lost city in the depths of a vast jungle. Hear ye, hear ye. Let us give thanks to our bard, Alexander Nakrada.
For the past several days, the talk of the streets and taverns has all been about the so-called death curse, a wasting disease afflicting everyone who's ever been raised from the dead. Victims grow thinner and weaker each day, slowly but steadily sliding toward the death they once denied. When they finally succumb, they can't be raised, and neither can anyone else, regardless of whether they've ever received that miracle in the past. Temples and scholars of divine magic are at a loss to explain a curse that has affected the entire region and possibly the entire world. So as the scene opens, you see a street, as you can see in this screenshot. And this street is one that's located in Baldur's Gate. And Baldur's Gate is one of the largest cities in the southern region of the Sword Coast. And the only other civilization or port is that of Port Nyanzaru in the peninsula. That's tropical peninsula located south of Baldur's Gate. As we look at this street, and it's fairly quiet, it's early in the morning, and most of our attention is basically on alongside of a two-story, very typically looking brick wall of a structure. On the wall, there's just some writing, some little graffiti, a couple posters that are old and worn in the corners, and they've been there so long that there's mold on the paper starting to grow. And but no sign of a door or window, just some blank wall. All of a sudden, our vision, or the what we see here, our attention's caught by this quick moving object off in the distance that pops around the corner down the street and zips straight to this wall and looks at the wall and kind of analyzes it and moves around much like a frenetic moth. And the closer we look at it, we see this hummingbird just buzzing around, looking at all of the little locations behind trees, underneath carts. And all of a sudden, as frenetic as its movement is, it comes to a rest and a standstill at about 3 foot high above the ground beside this wall. And all of a sudden, from the far corner of the street, we see peeking around the corner a little face, and quietly and carefully turns the corner and starts walking towards the hummingbird. And Johnny, what do we see?
A little fellow in a robe, about up to your thigh in height, and he's just wearing a robe, very unassuming kind of little guy. Got clothing on that's non-ostentatious so much, and not showing much of himself really. He's a robe. He's not got his hood up or anything like that, but he's moving around. He's a gnome, little gnome with he's got the ears of a gnome and young for a gnome, and at that distance, you just see a little guy coming along the street.
Okay. And is he moving quietly? Is he going beeline straight to some point, or what do we see him doing?
He's just always checking stuff out. He's really curious. He's always looking at the walls and stuff. Can't resist trying to find secret entrances to places. It's sort of a thing he really is into. He's always checking out nooks and crannies. So he doesn't walk in a straight line all the time.
Okay. We do know as we're watching this that we get the feeling that he's there for a purpose, and as this individual finds a quiet little place of investigation and concealment, all of a sudden from down the opposite side of the street, we see boldly walking, long strides, making sure to put their step and their basically vector direction marching in glorious sunlight as much as possible. And Tim, describe to us what we see.
Well, we see this half-elf woman in chainmail with black hair. She's got a robe that's red and embroidered with a dragon. And she has a great sword. And she's walking with resolve. She's walking with resolve towards to an appointment. She's got a calling. You can hear that she's got a calling.
All right. Okay, no, go ahead. Yeah.
She's got a calling, and it's partially answering to the call that she's received in the world around her, but it's also partially within. She's got something to prove to herself and to others.
All right. Make me a perception check.
$16.
Okay. Johnny, make me a stealth check.
$17.
Yeah, we do see that you have this initiative of being somewhere at a prompt certain time, and as you're approaching, give me another stealth check, but this time for the hummingbird, and we'll use your own stats at this point, unless you have the hummingbird stats in front of you.
I have them not very far away. 1 second.
I'm guessing the dexterity is pretty high.
Yeah, dexterity.
So yeah, give me a stealth check for the hummingbird.
I should do a character sheet up for the hummingbird so I can click on the.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Can you make like a sub character sheet like that? Like you can just click onto it?
Well, we can explore that possibility. Yeah.
I guess
Tim, give me another perception check. This time, if you catch this little hovering
15.
Okay, well that's not bad. I mean, you're staring at that wall because for some reason that's where you're going, and there ain't no door. As you walk up, you're basically reviewing the information in your head as in regards to the directions that were given to you, and you're staring at this wall that is the point at which you are supposed to see something in order to attend this rendezvous or this meeting. Just give me a standard stealth roll off your own stats.
Sure, okay. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I just had to find it. I made the document. I don't have the numbers what the stealth roll is in relation to but I'll give you my own stealth roll.
Yeah.
Because I got the hummingbird stats now. Typically,
the stealth is a dexterity component.
Yeah, I mean the dexterity of the hummingbird is 26, so it's +8.
Oh yeah, then just roll a d20 and add +8. Because you could actually, if it rolls a 1, you could walk right up to the hummingbird and
16, I think.
Oh.
Or a custom roll 6. Oh no, +8. Sorry, I didn't have the +8, so 24.
Okay. Oh yeah. You don't even notice the hummingbird. It's just kind of hovering at your waist height, kind of thing. So as you're looking at this wall, from the same basically direction as you came, but off of a side street, walks an individual that as far as our recollection, not too often do you see a person of this type walking towards, and walking in such a confident manner. We see approaching from about, I'd say 100 feet, is Ian. Who do we see?
Well, you see this person who appears to walk in such a way that how when you walk, you're kind of going up and down kind of a thing. Well, this person just kind of goes along without any up or down motion at all.
The head still.
Almost as if they're floating along.
All right.
And this person has a cloak, and the cloak has a kind of a substantial hood on it. So you kind of have a hard time seeing who this person is. But this person is substantially built. They're 6 feet tall.
Ooh.
And they're 6 feet tall. And it's someone that you would get out of the way of if they walk down the sidewalk towards you. You kind of like, oh. But if you were able to glance inside the hood, you would see this kind of light brown skinned person who is actually a female. She has red hair and she has golden eyes, which are really quite striking. From our world, if you think of if you've ever seen Beastmaster before with Tanya Roberts, you'd kind of think that kind of looks like a Tanya Roberts type of a character, except this person is much bigger, androgynous, and a solidly built woman in battle gear underneath this underneath this flowing cloak that she has on. She has quite substantial armor, and she's carrying a mace, and you can't see it, but she's got a crossbow as well. The way she moves is a little bit unusual because she kind of moves silently. She just kind of floats along, it looks like,
hypnotically.
And if you look carefully, it's kind of in the way that her hips move.
Right.
That kind of makes that not bouncing up and down kind of a way that a guy would be walking.
Okay. Give me a perception check. And it's quite early in the morning that there would be even this much traffic on the streets.
9.
You barely notice anything, more so focused on the thought and kind of going through that internal kind of checklist in your head as you're walking, and somewhat focused, somewhat oblivious. You notice a individual in chainmail staring at a brick wall as you approach, and the moment you get close, probably about 10 feet from this person, all of a sudden, before you, as you kind of turn to look each other's face, and all of a sudden you hear this kind of stone grinding sound, and kind of sliding, shifting kind of noise and crackling of like small pebbles exploding kind of thing. And when you look at where the sound's coming from, you look at the brick wall in front of you, and it's like this brick in the middle just split itself open, and you see the seam start to open left and right. And as it's opening left and right, it grows up and down, and it finishes by stopping at about 3-4 feet wide by about 6 feet tall, and a archway of a door appears, and there's a nice, gorgeous wooden door with iron, a crafted inlay of metalwork and hinge work, and the door quietly swings inwards, and you see a human, an elderly human, standing there in a kind of one-piece button from the collar all the way down to the toes, kind of purple robe, and just looks out at you and goes, "Ah, well, 2 of you are here. Come on in." What do you do?
So those two are there.
Inside.
Am I not?
You are kind of like hidden in the shadows, like you said. You were kind of sniffing around, and but you see everything that's going on. Do you pop out and kind of?
Yeah, just to say, I knew that door was there. I already knew that door was there.
All of a sudden, from behind you, you hear this voice of complete sarcasm and cynicism and kind of disdain and superiority. But for a split second, you swear it was an invisible person, because you can't see anybody until all of a sudden you hear this and your chin just drops down about 3 feet, and you see about 6 feet in front of you. What do they see now, Johnny?
Just a little guy looking. You just in here. As I said, I appear as just a small little fellow without any adornment to me. You think, oh, it could be a little I don't know, a monk or a wizard or something like that. And mostly I was like, "Hi guys," but I'm looking at the finery and the machinery, and I've been waiting for this thing to open for days. I saw this. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, it's a whole wall, and there's no door. Why would there not be a door? There's a door. And then I thought, yeah. So I've been watching, waiting. Nobody's been coming and going much while I've been seeing it. But there's am I going on? Sorry, I'm going on. Anyway, hello. My name is Randall, and that is a cool door.
Oh my God, we have Columbo.
Mini.
Come on, little fellow.
So yeah, the moment you guys hear the end of this very determined monologue, the person who opened the door kind of leans down and squats a bit in between your large forms, and goes, "Oh, Randall, I didn't see you. All right, come on in."
Calidora steps out of the way to let Randall pass.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So you guys are led. You walk in, and as deceiving as the door was, the interior is just as deceiving, because the foyer that you walk into has got to be the size of the building itself that you entered, immediately. And what you see is a staircase that just spirals up. You just see a tower appear, and you see probably from your first glance at least 5 stories. And it's just this like that the Guggenheim, where it's just this ramp that goes around and it keeps going all the way up to the top, and you just see doors on the outside of it, kind of, or on inside wall of this ramp. And so this individual leads you up, and you walk into a room, and the room's fairly dark, but it's only dark because of all of the drapes and thick tapestries, and every sound in this room is soaked up by all of the cloth and the rugs and the pillows. And it looks like an office kind of sitting room because it is round itself. And at the far side of where you walk in, you see a desk with a chair, but the back is to you. And you know that there's someone sitting in it because you can see a hand. All you can see is a hand kind of poking out on the right, holding what looks to be like a walking stick. You see chairs, probably 4 chairs that you make out that are kind of close to this desk. The individual leads you in and motions to the chairs for you to sit down. Do you wish to sit down?
Calidora sits. She approaches.
Okay.
And sits.
Lysera decides to stand because she is always wary, and I should have introduced her. Her name is Lysera Namrand, and she is of the Asimar race.
Oh, cool.
She stands.
All right. So as you guys kind of walk into this room,
Randall just hops up in the arm of the chair of Calidora. She was so nice at the door. Hello.
All right. The individual stands beside the chair, beside the desk, and says, "You have been invited to the home of Sindra Sylvain. You are all here, motivated by your own agendas, but all of your agendas hopefully converge to the same point, which is right here, right now." And the individual kind of walks in a little closer to you guys, because of this sort of like giving a footnote as to who she is if you don't really know the depths of who she is, and leans in and goes, "She's a retired adventurer and merchant, a uniformed just a second here. As she begins to explain and kind of not necessarily read out her resume, but attempts to indicate the level of importance that this meeting is. And you are all well aware of the rumors going around about the death curse and about individuals that are just decaying, and every day they look like they're regressing in their health. And you're all kind of looking at each other, kind of not, well, you know what? Everybody give me an insight check as you're just looking at everybody.
$18.
All right.
Only 10.
15 from Calidora.
So with the 18, when she looks at Randall, what can she read from you with an 18 off the body language and sort of like, why are you here? What kind of sense does she get from you as far as your motivation right now? Is Randall just looking around?
Oh, is it Randall? I thought you were asking Calidora. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, he rolled an 18, and he's looking at you, kind of reading you as you're jumping on the thing. So what does she glean from you in that with that 18, as far as like kind of like, why are you here? What's your motivation?
I'm ready. I heard there's terrible things have happened, and I can't wait to get out there and do something about it.
So that's what she gets from you. That you're just okay, all geared up.
What is it? I've heard about this, and I've been waiting to get in that door for a while. So
all right. Kind of like this over caffeinated paperboy kind of thing.
I just got what are we doing? Waiting around? Let's get going. Let's get at it.
Caldora with an 18. What does she kind of poker read from you?
Well, she reads that Caladora's is here seeking adventure, yes, but also looking for her way. She's trying to find her way.
Nice.
She's got a strong exterior, but on the inside she's trying to.
The compass is just spinning right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And she's looking for a purpose.
Good intent, but not a direction.
Seeking purpose.
Ian, you being the most insightful of all of them, I mean, they can read you. What's the slightest thing that they can glean from you about why you're here? Just a little tidbit, right? It's not like they opened up the vault on you. They can just, what can they subtly catch from you why you're here? Or your intent?
They don't really know, other than this person kind of means business, but also she has a big smile on her face. So they kind of get the sense that even though she's formidable, that doesn't really there's something mitigating threatful behavior from her as well.
Okay.
And I don't know about how the other women feel about her. It would take a pretty confident woman to not be intimidated by her her potential.
So most people can only handle making eye contact with you for so long, and then they turn away because it's like, okay, you win.
You have to, well, the men have to, I think, roll a saving throw, a charisma saving throw versus
stunned.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Did you clear Scotch tape?
I don't have any of that. No, there should be some in the drawer upstairs. Okay, yeah. So as soon as you guys kind of shoulder check each other, and you're about to, or actually Randall with his eagerness, you're just about to say something.
I'm looking everywhere.
Oh yeah. And the moment you're just about to speak, the hand kind of comes up. The finger comes up off of the walking stick, and you just hear this raspy, tired voice say, "I was an adventurer years ago. I died once and was raised from the dead. I have since closed the door on that stage of my life, but the death curse you've heard about has struck me. I don't know how much longer I'll last before I perish." All of a sudden, you just kind of see this hand grip this thing, and the arm pulls itself, and you see the chair kind of not shake, but just you kind of shift a little bit. And all of a sudden you see a form kind of stand up, long, kind of darkish, graying a little bit hair, and a female human turns around with very elaborate and expensive looking archmage robes. Some that actually, you know what? Give me history checks, please, all three of you. When all of a sudden you see this form in front of you turn.
I think I have extra double proficiency for history about magic.
Sure. Oh yeah, for sure. This would work.
Eldor 21.
Oh, okay.
Lasera rolls a 4.
I got plus 21 for Randall. Well,
you not that you know who she is, but Randall and And that, well, of course, probably with the elf lore and maybe some magic connected, you notice that this robe is worn by a select few in Baldur's Gate of a, how shall we say, hidden star chamber of individuals of power. And yeah, you know, as this person turns out, it's like, oh, we're having a meeting with a big hitter. And the person turns around as kind of steps to the side so you can clearly see them, and continues and says, clerics have no help to offer. They're stymied by what is happening. But my contacts in the Harpers have learned that the cause of the death curse is a necromantic artifact called the Soulmonger. According to their sources, the Soulmonger is somewhere in Chult. And you guys know Chult to be that peninsula that is even further, remarkably further south. And it is tropical, it is unexplored, it is off the charts. She continues, walks and looks at all three of you and starts to not analyze you, but assess the commitment to why you're here and your fortitude, and says, Chult is a peninsula ringed with mountains and choked with rainforests. Enormous reptiles, savage goblins, and an army of undead prowl its jungles and ruins. Mapping the place has always been nigh impossible, and nothing is known about the region's current geography beyond a few miles of the coast. So, working from dozens of sea charts, logbooks, and explorers' journals, and as you look behind her in this desk, it is littered with resources and research. And on the top, sort of like a crowning glory of all of this hours of labor of work, you see a map. And she continues and says, I've assembled everything known about the current state of Chult into one map. I'll provide it to you if you undertake my mission. And that is to go to Chult, to find the Soulmonger and destroy it. And she just looks at you and is waiting for an answer.
All right, let's go. That sounds great. I got my tools. I'll finish the map for you. I'll bring you back a complete map. You guys, let's go. Let's go, girls. Oh, sorry, girls. Does that sound unreasonable? Just met. Anyway, I'll did you guys talk again? But I'm good to go. Good to go.
Calidora leans forward. She's interested.
Okay.
She'd like to go.
Okay. She's kind of got a check, and she's got a, all right. And then she looks over to, is it Lysera or Lysera?
Lysera.
Lysera. Okay.
Lys. You can call her Lys for short.
Lys. All right. So she looks over at Lys, and you notice that this is the first female that you've ever encountered, that it's not that you're intimidated by it, but you found an equal in regards to stature, status, claim of a space that you're in. And if you found your equal, then what else don't you know about her?
Lys nods and looks her right in the eye and says, "We will take up the quest."
All right. So as she sees kind of affirmation in all your face, she goes, "When you're ready to depart, I will teleport us all to Port Nyanzaru, the only major settlement in Chult. It's the only civilized place on the peninsula. I've been there several times before, so there's little chance of mishap. And once we're there, I'll stay with a friend named Wakanga Otamu. He's one of the 7 merchant princes who rule the city. So as she indicates to you that everything is kind of prearranged in regards to the teleportation, the arrival, she also stops and goes, once this is complete, I guarantee for each of you a rare item of your choosing from my storehouse.
Liz looks at her right in the eye and says, well, that's all very well and good, but if we're going to go on a quest of this magnitude, perhaps we need something now
to help us on our
to
way.
aid us in our quest.
Give me a persuasion check. Or is that intimidation?
It could be.
If it's an intimidation, it's at a disadvantage because you're in her space.
Let's see. No, it's persuasion.
Okay.
Oh, for fuck's sakes. With a 10.
She looks at your resolve, and smiles with an affirmation and a nostalgic kind of glint in her eye of, oh, I was once you. And kind of looks over at her assistant and gives a nod, and the assistant basically turns around and swings around and has this kind of plateau holder, and on this holder are 3 bags of 75 GP each, and basically walks to each one of you and is kind of like, here's yours, and here's yours. And she goes, this hopefully will help you get started with any kind of disposable revenue that you need to. And she looks at all of you and goes, essential that you hire a guide, because none survive without the knowledge gained and aided by someone who can facilitate your survival in this environment. And make sure that you, as best possible, supply yourself with what the locals refer to as essentials for jungle survival.
Will our guide have a good idea what that would be?
Absolutely. If you find the right guide and you pay the right price, a lot of these responsibilities will be taken care of.
What's the going rate for a good guide these days?
That, if you wish, you can talk to the harbor master. The harbor master has information about all who choose to be guides, and all who choose to be guides must be part of the guild.
So Calidora has been taking all of this in, and she says, my father, the Carmine Knight, he spoke of you. He's you may remember him. He's a noble.
Oh yeah, the moment you mentioned that family, that order, there's this kind of like not surprise, but all of a sudden, oh, we have nobility in the room.
Yes, and she says, I'm curious as to if we're the only adventurers that you've set upon this task, because it seems unusual that an individual of your stature, your accomplishment, would just put all her eggs in this basket, a noble basket, a well-equipped basket, but without...
Make me an insight check with advantage.
Insight?
Make me an insight check with advantage. because as you're saying this, you're trying to read the reaction.
14.
As you're saying this and kind of not getting to the point, but sort of presenting this global idea of why are we here?
Yeah.
And you get the sense that, well, you're not the first group that has sat here and has been offered this opportunity, but you kind of get the sense that none of them made it back yet.
For sure. And you know, to that end, you know, we understand you're not doing well. You're running out of time. There's only so many more groups you can send into the jungle. Surely there must be some magical benefit that you can send us with that will help us to protect your legacy.
Roll me a persuasion check. And you know what? Because of your nobility, I'll give you advantage on that.
Well, you don't need to. I just rolled a natural 20. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay. She looks at you and kind of acknowledges that you're calling her bluff, kind of thing, in regards to like, there's people better than us that you could go knock on their door. That kind of that was the undertone of your question. And she looks at you and smiles, and the head goes sideways and goes, well, I can't do anything from here now, but when we're there, I will ask Wakanga what he can do, because he is the merchant in charge of magical items and potions.
How do you spell his name?
Wakanga.
Wakanga. Okay, like it
and
sounds.
Then O''Tamu. Otamu.
He's a merchant, a magical.
He's a magical merchant. Has a place in the market. And as she starts to get things all prepared, she hands you 2 maps. So there's that 2D map.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, okay. I've got it now.
And but the 3D map has got a cool kind of orientation, because you can where is it? Because you can see a lot of the cool area.
Oh, that's cool. That is
Zaru. Zaru.
Yeah, that's cool. Zaru. So she teleports you guys to the boardwalk right here that's in between the lighthouse and the harbor master building. So as you guys prepare in her room, you guys she opens up a curtain, and there's another alcove that has a teleportation circle on the ground, and you all walk in there, and as she looks at all 3 of you and herself, and kind of looks and says, "Are you ready?" And if you all look at her and nod, she basically, the hands come up. She loses her focus into her chanting, and all 3 of you have this weird body sensation. It's like all of a sudden you're falling forward, and the ground, before the ground slaps you in the face, you kind of flip around. And as you flip around and you kind of do like a fade to black, and your eyes come up and you come vertical, you go, and you're standing now looking into the harbor of Port Nyanzaru. And the first thing that you notice isn't what you see, isn't what you hear, isn't what you smell. It is the fact that it is the most humid environment that you've ever experienced. The heat is near unbearable because of the fact that you are not conditioned at all right now to this environment. It's sort of like taking you and going, okay, so you're in Saskatoon, and in a flash of a second, you're in a jungle in Honduras.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
Yeah.
Getting off the plane, and it's like, oh my God, it's a sauna.
Oh yeah, so they're poof, that hits you. Once that kind of overwhelming sensation finishes to wash itself over you, and the nausea kind of subsides, you see a incredible looking town. To your right are two kind of second level kind of spire sections. There's one close to you with a gorgeous finished white pristine dome and clean. Everything here is so clean and pristine. Next to that, closer into the jungle that you see, is a sparkling dome that scintillates, and it is probably the most elevated point on the right hand of your vision. Just below that, you hear noise coming from a market that is like full of people and clatter and noise of animals, and all of a sudden the smells start to hit you, and there's fragrance. Everything is the freshest smell that you've ever had, the most humid smell that you've ever had. Right in front of you, you see a statue of what looks to be like an epic-looking soldier with spear forced into the air. Beside you, like I said, left and right of you, left to you is a gorgeous lighthouse that is functional, and you see people operating it, moving about. And to the right is a very administrative-looking red building, and you get the sense that that's the harbor master building that was spoken of. And sure enough, past the harbor master's building, you see docks. Past the docks, you see a shipyard. At the far end of this little harbor alcove, you see warehouses. To the left of that, you see a gorgeous domed palace that looks very civic in its regal stature amongst all of these other buildings. What you kind of glanced over, but now you notice, because of the noise and cheers coming from it, is inside, beside the market, you just see the outsides of what you think to be as a gladiatorial coliseum, because all of a sudden, every once in a while, you hear noises erupt of cheers and to the south, opposite the entrance of the of this port, you see a old-looking brick fortification that has the look of being the grandfathered building of this whole area, that has bruises and scars of standing tall in defending this port. And beside that, with just as much age and let's say history, is the bathhouse. And you see individuals coming in and out with togas, and you're getting the sense that for such a tropic port town, there's an immense culture, a diverse culture. As you see the people around you, predominantly human beings, predominantly what you think to be local individuals called Chultans, and but there are elves, there's some dwarves, there's some smaller halfling folk, and she looks at you and goes, "Fine, we're here. I would suggest to you that the more opportune places, if you wish to immediately find lodging, is to go to," and let me find my spot here. There we go, locations in the city. 1 second. I've got this written in my notes. I took good notes. I promise. There we go. Okay, so as you guys are looking around and you're scanning and you're soaking in all the sights and sounds and noises and kind of familiarizing yourself, and she's pointing out these specific areas as you kind of take notice. She says, this town is so diverse. There are temples, there are bathhouses, there are coliseums that regularly have combats, and all of a sudden, as the talking continues, what you kind of noticed but didn't notice because there was so much to take in, all of a sudden hits you, slaps you in the face of awareness that walking through the streets are domesticated dinosaurs of various types, various sizes. You see large brontosaurus type of dinosaurs that are on harnesses and pulley systems that are lifting large loads off of ships, and cranes, boom arms swinging as the dinosaurs walk backwards, and trainers are kind of coaxing the legs and they're walking backwards. You see people riding small raptor-like dinosaurs as modes of transportation. And then out of nowhere, on the right-hand side, coming around those two spires, you see dinosaurs racing towards down the street, a finish line, and people cheering. And she says, oh, yes, every day there's dinosaur races that people apparently bet on. And as you're continuing walking, she, like I was saying, she encourages you to, if you wish to find accommodations, the Thundering Lizard Inn is, how shall I say, quite raucous.
Yeah.
But if you wish to have a peaceful night's sleep and be sure that you gain as much of your energy, Kaya's House of Repose is a nice, quiet place, and both can be found. And she points over to the, I'm going to pop up the other map here, the overhead one. She points over to just behind the Coliseum. You see kind of a, not necessarily a market, but more so where there's larger buildings, larger people, kind of restaurants. You're getting the sense that that's kind of the tavern, pub, and inn section of the area. And so with all of that being said, I'm going to send you also, I'll send you a map that has the numbers of the points of interest so that you can go, what's this number? And I'll just tell you as you guys are kind of like walking.
Well, the map, the notable locations is on the 3D map.
Oh yeah, okay. There you go. Yeah, I forgot that you guys have that menu on the bottom. Yeah. So I'll quickly run through, is it 18? Yeah, the Red Bazaar. Area 18 is the Red Bazaar and Inns. And that is just basically, if you're looking at the 3D map, to the left of the Coliseum and north of the Gold Tower.
Oh, yeah. What's going on there? Right underneath the 18, it looks like there's blood splattered all over the place. Empty flagons, or
I'm kind of looking at that. I think that might be just a street fight.
Yeah, maybe.
It is very raucous, isn't it?
A drunken riot. Yes.
So yes, you guys are, and you can see my mouse. Yeah, you guys are basically on this little stone walkway. What do you guys want to do?
Well, perhaps we should,
you know that she's basically, as she looks at you, she nods her head and she continues to walk on her own. And she says, if you ever wish to find me, go to, and she points over to, I think it's section 5. Yeah. Section 5, which is the merchants' villas. And she points basically where that gold tower is. you see a bunch of houses, and then there's a bridge across the top of the market where you see some more of these kind of fancy houses that are the sort of like the ruling committee, merchant committee of the city. The prince merchants of the city live in those areas.
Like behind that wall?
Yeah.
Like in area 24?
In area 5.
By,
no, they're in area 5.
But up high, up top there on the rooftop.
Yeah, so if you can see,
like
so
between 5 and 4.
So there's kind of houses here, and then there's houses here. So Wakanga lives in the area closest to the jungle. And what you also notice as you're walking, it's hard not to notice that this jungle, there's this civilization here, but this jungle, at any given moment, you feel that this jungle is just going to overtake this area and just grow into it. There's that much of a, not a friction, but this affrontment of the jungle trying to push this civilization off of its peninsula.
Yep.
So yes, what would you guys like to do?
The time of day.
It's probably like 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning, because it was very early when you guys kind of like met with your patron.
So, just kind of metagaming here, I feel like what we need to do is we need to talk to the harbor master and find ourselves.
I thought you were going to say, we need to go drink.
No, we need to find our way we need to find our way to a guide of value that so that's what I'd be curious to do.
Wakanga's not the harbor master, is he?
No, he's one of the prince merchants.
He's the one who's going to have some kind of, he's the one that we want to hit up before we leave, for sure.
Yeah. So it would be nice to meet him, and but we need to definitely set up a tour guide.
We're right by there anyway.
I suggest we go and I suggest that we go and talk to the harbor master.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, I agree.
This, and this is Carmine Calidora is talking here. Is that we could always just go to the beach for a couple hours, and then catch some sun. Maybe there's some beach meat somebody will sell us.
There's a picture of Wakanga.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's sexy.
Yeah.
It's sexy.
Because to me, all the guides are probably, any guide who's come back into town was probably up late drinking last night.
So Ian, there's a picture of Wakanga.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Let's see if I can find you a nice picture of the port city here. I have a few of them ready to go here. So that's a kind of good shot of the jungle that is in reference. There's kind of what you see as far as the locals on the street. And there we go. This is kind of the feel. There we go. That's kind of the feel that you guys get when you start walking the streets. Big, tall ships in the harbor. Lot of people milling around, trading things, dinosaurs all over the place, domesticated. But it's still dinosaurs. Some have muzzles. Some have lots of trainers that are soothing and disciplining, or not disciplining, but directing and encouraging, and very routine-like behavior happening. So you guys go up to the harbor master and let me bring up the harbor master.
Zindar.
All right. So yeah, you see ships of all sizes, like I said, tall ships, some sloops. You walk in. Yeah. How did you know it was Zindar?
On the map.
So yes, outside the harbor master's office, you see a bulletin board. You see this individual kind of yelling at people to, bring in their paperwork. And the harbor master, you get this sense that this isn't, a half intelligent individual. This is an individual that you see every once in a while a hand gesture going and some arcane flash, and this is an individual that has some magical ability to kind of scan ships as they're coming in, to, have very insightful looks at captains and paperwork, and very, how shall we say, authoritative and disciplined in their speech and direct communication to the individuals around them and working for him. And as you walk up, you clearly see that there's on the wall, you see, guides, and then there's a few names on there. What would you guys like to do?
Read it.
Okay.
We should check with one of you tall, powerful ladies should probably talk to the dude there after we read these.
Yeah, Calidora, she approaches the harbor master and tries to gain his attention.
All right. So the closer you get, you start to hear the voice that you're kind of getting the sense this is the one in charge. This is the one that's in the office. And when you get a good look at it, you notice that the harbor master is actually a half gold kind of dragonborn named Zindar. And Zindar turns around and stares at you. What? What do you want?
She speaks to him in Draconic. I'm looking to
Nice.
to get. I need the best guide. I'm here on a mission. I'm here to venture into the deep jungle of Chult. And are you Chultites or Chultavians?
Chultans.
Yeah, I'm looking for a Chultan guide who can assist us and speed us on our way, because time is of the essence. We need help.
Give me a persuasion check with advantage because you're speaking his language.
$17.
Yeah. Leans in and goes, do they have to be Chultans?
We're more interested in good than
So you want the best then?
the best. We're more interested in good, knowledgeable.
As far as money goes, you want to pay for the best?
We have resources, yes.
All right. Quickly looks at the list and kind of goes, ha! Reaches back inside, grabs a writing utensil and looks at the list. And the list has about 12 names on it and goes, you see him tapping, scratches one name off the list. That one didn't make it back. Scratches another one off the list. That one hasn't come back in a while. And then yells out, have you guys seen Jorgen? Scratches another name off the list. Okay, then. Looks and says, roll me a percentile.
A percentile.
Let's just see what's available and what he wants to connect you to.
Okay, just 1 second. Percentile coming up. 49. Huh.
Okay. I mean, that's half. Don't feel bad. So he goes, let's see. He goes back and grabs some paperwork and comes back to you and shows you kind of like a here, I'm going to kind of change it. Shows you kind of one page, kind of like a one-page document with a picture and a description. And let's see, shows you this one. So open image in new tab, and then I'll send you this link. So it says, well, we could start by having a look at Azaka. So there's the first guide that he recommends to you. There's Eku. Now Eku, I like Eku. Eku comes back a lot of the time. Well, all the time.
We like that.
Yeah. And so, open image in new tab. And I noticed that the names aren't with it. So if you want the names, I'll remind you of the names. So he shows you Eku. This is Eku.
Is that a
And
woman? Oh no, that's a dude. I think.
So Eku, and what's the other one's name?
the first one was Azaka Stormfang.
Azaka.
Azaka Stormfang. And then Eku, EKU.
Is a day 30.
And and so Calidor says, where might we find these individuals?
If you go to the Thundering Lizard Inn, I pretty much guarantee that they can be there if they're not in the jungle, and I know they're not in the jungle. That's probably where you'll find them.
So Azaka has this quest that she's trying to get taken care of. She needs to go get her mask, but that'll get the fee waived, so that'll save us whatever, 150 GP. But the other one is a good person.
Yeah. Who is questing to
Are they women or?
They look like they're chicks, eh?
They both do, yeah.
Norm?
Especially Azaka.
Oh, yeah, they're
See?
both female. Yeah. As he's still kind of flipping through some papers. It says, there's one more. Where is this one? And finds, says, I've heard a lot of people appreciate, open image in new tab, appreciate Hugh and his understanding of the jungle. And here comes Hugh. Hugh is a dwarf that has the look of a lot of mileage, but has a sturdy look.
Yeah.
He's got one arm missing. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this just in his write-up. You haven't actually seen this individual yet.
And will we find him at the inn as well?
Oh, Lysera likes this guy.
Hugh can be found most of the time in the marketplace. Kind of looking for work. Just likes people.
Yeah.
Okay.
He looks like a man of honor and experience.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, Caladora is not worried about saving coin.
Just as you guys are having this conversation, you hear. I mean, this is the Harbor Master building is pretty large, and on the far side, you hear a lot of kind of chattering and crowd noise. Not so much that it's aggressive, but it's kind of cheering or urgent. And you hear one person go, all right, hurry up. Get your bets in. The second race for the dragons. Coming down. Hurry.
It's a gambling town.
Keep your eyes on your purses, lads.
As Randall looks up at both, I see some money there. I see money there.
Yeah, for sure.
So Dragonborn turns and looks right at Callie and goes, so, are we good? You got what you need?
Yeah, and she says, thank you for your help. Where do you recommend that we can find a good meal and some provisions for, is there anywhere that you'd recommend for a good meal and some provisions that we can take with us into the jungle?
The marketplace is always a good place to start. There's always fresh food. If you want to sit down and have a meal, you go to the inn.
Yes. And do you have any tips for those of us who are going into the jungle? Do you have any advice or tips?
Don't go into the jungle. If you have to, make sure you have lots of drinking water. And
you just kind of see him slap.
Insect repellent. There is a shop in the market that has the town's best insect repellent. Now,
what's the name of that shop?
1 second here. As you guys are kind of like, obviously kind of like, okay, we're talking. What do we got here? What can we do? What can we buy? So, let me find.
That sounds good.
No, not that one. Not that one. That one. No.
Did you tell us where we're going to find Hugh?
Hugh's in the market, so I think we should go to the market and then we can go to the Thunder Lizard Inn.
So he says that in the market, you can find the following people that have very prosperous. They're basically the merchants of these domains. So there's Ekena Afra, EKENE-AFA. Ekena Afa. Ekena deals in weapons, shields, traveling gear, rain catchers that assist you in having drinkable water, salads, wagons, and canoes, because there's 2 rivers that lead kind of in either direction into the jungle. There's one that goes on the west side and one goes on the east side. Time to bring Daniel upstairs? Okay, I'll come up right away. I'll give these guys the list of the destination stuff. There's Ifan Talro, Ifantalro. And Ifan deals in beasts and beast training. And he points at the dinosaurs specifically. There's Jessamine, Jessamine. She deals in plants, poisons, and kind of chuckles a bit, and assassinations, if that's what you're looking for. And kind of looks you up and down and is like, I don't think you're the type. But there's Jobal. He deals in guides and sellswords.
Sellswords?
Mercenaries.
There's Kawayote, Kawaothe. She deals in fruit, wine, ale, oil, perfume, but most importantly, insect repellent. Because if you don't have that, you're always distracted by the bugs and you can never really focus on anything. Then he goes, Wakanga Otamu. He deals in magic and lore.
Yes, and we know about him.
Then there's Xanthi, Zanthi. Xanthi deals in gems, jewelry, textiles, and armor. Okay, you guys mull that over. I'm going to go help Mel upstairs with Daniel.
Makes me wonder what kind of mission we're going to be going on. Whether we're just going into the jungle and then not coming back, or whether we're going to be kind of sorting out and back. You know, because it's like one of those things where I'd like to get better armor, but I don't want to spend all my resources on it. But if we're coming back, you know?
Yeah, I'm also wondering a similar thing, because I can't wear armor yet as a wizard, but as soon as I become an artificer, then I can, and that'll be up first level up. You know, so we'll be back. We'll be out there, and I want to be able to put studded leather on as soon as I can.
Yeah, for sure. I totally hear you on that one. So I think that basically, I think that we got to get some clues in terms of, like, we've got to figure out where we're actually going. Like, that's the one thing with the guide is, like, it's good to have a guide, but where are we going?
Yeah, well, and part of that is we got to ask the guide where we're going.
Yeah. Looking for the soulmonger artifact.
So in the map of Chult, where are we? Is this is on Chult?
Yeah, we're at the we're in the north, Port Nyanzaru.
Oh yeah, there we go. In the Bay of Chult.
Yeah.
So.
I think we should just go right to the Peaks of Flame.
Sorry, to the what?
It looks like volcanoes. That's all I'm saying. There's some volcanoes down the middle of the map, right in the middle of the.
Oh yeah.
I'm just being stupid.
Heading straight for the peaks of flame.
Yeah, we're just gonna go straight for the peaks of flame. Just go south, right through those skull and crossbones there, and so that's where that's that's all I know is that we've got to get some clues. So maybe we should go talk to some of these.
I think we should secure our
I
scout.
think we should. Yeah, let's find Hugh. I like Hugh over the other two. Actually, I think he would be the most entertaining.
Well, and there's a goody two shoes.
I don't know what you
the other
guys
one.
think.
There's the goody two shoes, and then the other one who wants us to help her with her quest, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
It's always a little bonus side quest, but for some extra experience. But I think Hugh seems to be the choice.
Yeah,
Saltiest, toughest.
Yeah.
he seems like he could carry a canoe.
Yeah.
With one arm.
So I was thinking of like buying studded armor and just carrying it, or asking one of my friends to carry it in their pouch until I can wear it.
Yeah.
Like, what I'm wondering is if we level up, and we're out in the jungle, what about the stuff you need? If you're doing a multi-class. So that's what I'm wondering if I should gear up with what I'm going to need when I step into that artificer class.
Well, I think let's just go and see what and figure out. Like, I kind of feel like some sorties to get information is what we need to do. So that's the big thing that I'm kind of feeling.
Information. Yeah.
Like,
How long? Yeah. How far? How long does it take to get there? To
But
get
also
back.
some clues as to where we might be finding this.
Provisions. Any sort of intel that we can get as far as dangerous locations along the way. Maybe a map would be good.
Well, and we got this map here that they gave us of Chult, right? And if Hugh knows the place so well, he could maybe describe it well enough that we could draw the map in a little bit. And I've got cartography skills, so I mean, I think we're going to probably gain that information as we go to places anyway. But it'd be interesting to hear if we talk to Hugh, where he thinks this, some clues from him about what he's seen out there since the curse. Might give us some direction.
One
Is there
thing
any?
about one of these more these other people is that they might actually know a little bit about the if it's an artifact of Chult, the soulmonger, has it been around? What's changed? Is it something that's been introduced or awoken, or that's what I'm curious about.
That's a good question. Where did it originate from, or whatever? What's the deeper story?
Yeah.
I also, my Temple of Gond is in this town. Does anybody else have their temple in this town?
No.
Well, that's a good question.
Actually, I'm going to I'd like to stop at the Temple of Gond. It's really close to the market anyway.
Yeah.
And I want to ask them for advice on my question about whether I should say that I'm a member. I'm in the Temple of Gond. I'm not yet an artificer, but it's part of my love of what I've done, and I'm working my way towards first level. And do they have any advice about whether I should get some stuff for that, towards that, while I'm in town, or any blessing?
That's a good call. So we'll stop there on the way.
It's a groovy little map, eh? It's a little 3D.
It is cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Temple of Gond, number 8. Yeah, it's totally on the way. So Temple of Gond, over to the market, find Hugh,
Yeah.
I could ask at the temple if and show the resumes of the 3 guides there, just in case it's useful.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm just definitely curious about what our purpose is. So one thing I should ask the harbor master about.
What do you mean?
Well, what he's heard about, just in terms of, what he's heard about this death curse.
Yeah. Yeah, wouldn't hurt. Yeah, we haven't quite left there yet, so it'd be good. He's your pal.
Yeah, Calidora, she's got a dragon backstory.
Yeah, that's great.
So the question would be, are we going to try to negotiate with this guy to see if we can get a deal, or do we just split it 3 ways? Because we'll have to pay 150 gold pieces right off the hop.
Well, you were saying that you didn't care about the money.
Well, she doesn't. She's just curious about that aspect of it. How are we doing it? She wants to know what our she's not worried about the money from her perspective, but she's definitely
You don't want any freeloaders along.
Yeah, she's not paying for you guys unless you guys are allowing her to take all of the cut.
Just checking what
Well,
you
we have
want.
75 GTP.
That we know of.
Yeah, we each have 75 GP. So we'll have, Calidora, she might have a little stash.
Something tells me.
Let's just say she's curious if there's a spa. A little spa before she goes on this adventure.
And so ends our first episode of The King's Cult. Adventures in 5E, The Tomb of Annihilation.
This episode is supported by the incredible team at Breakout Escape and Board Game Lounge here in Saskatoon. Using industry-leading technology, Breakout escape rooms are all 100% uniquely designed by the team to ensure their patrons have maximum fun while staying safe. As well, they are a fully licensed board game lounge with over 400 titles to select from to ensure fun for every gamer, new and experienced. Be sure to check them out at breakoutsask.com. At Breakout Escapes and Board Game Lounge, they believe that life is more fun when you play games. Welcome back. This is Cardboard Conjecture, and that was the first segment of the King's Court Adventures in 5e. And with that being said, I'm your host, Norm, and we'll catch you later. This has been an episode of Cardboard Conjecture, and we are Bridge City Board Gamers. And you can find us on Facebook at Bridge City Board Gamers Saskatoon. You can find us on YouTube, Bridge City Board Gamers. We are also on Twitter at BC Board Gamers. And of course, Board Game Geek Guild number 3039.